Welcome to NarrativeNook Audiotales, where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening. Gran's breathing difficulties are because a cerebral hemorrhage affected her breathing center. The right treatment will help her get better. Where did you get that theory from? Our Western medicine doesn't fully agree with the theory of acupuncture, the doctor said anxiously as he looked at the continuous alarm sound on the ventilator. The old lady's condition is getting worse, Mr. and Mrs. Collins. I request to have this girl removed. Sis, what are you doing? Saving someone doesn't mean sticking a few needles in them. You're not a super doctor. Step aside and let the professionals handle it. If anything happens to Grandma because of you, Mom and Dad won't forgive you. Serena didn't expect Arabella to go as far as bringing a needle pack to attract attention. Was she trying to show off in front of their parents? Wasn't she being a bit too impulsive? If her treatment failed, she can kiss her stay with this family goodbye. Kenneth and Louisa couldn't believe their daughter knew about acupuncture. After all, it's a traditional foreign medical skill. But with the elderly's condition so severe, could it really be improved just by bloodletting? Let her try. Hans saw hope in Arabella's confident eyes. The doctor was stunned. Mr. Collins, the old lady is about to pass out. We must rescue her immediately. If we wait any longer, even a super doctor can't do anything. The nurse next to him also chimed in. Who is this girl? How old is she? Do you know her? How could you let her practice medicine? Does she know medicine? Does she know what acupuncture is? The caregiver also pleaded, please stop. The old lady is almost gone. Let the doctor come, I beg you. The doctor could no longer stand the constant alarm from the ventilator. Quick, someone pull her away. If you want her to die, come on. Arabella's words stunned everyone. No one could believe that a girl in her teens could have such a strong spirit. In less than 2 seconds, the alarm on the ventilator stopped. The doctor looked at the data in disbelief. It was back to normal. The head nurse and 2 other nurses were also stunned. It normalized? Just by acupuncture? Seeing their surprised faces, Serena couldn't believe Arabella really had a solution and asked anxiously, Doctor, how is it? Is she gone? What does the data mean? Tell everyone quickly. As long as something happened to Grandma, Arabella will never be able to stay in the Collins family again. The old lady is fine. As soon as the doctor said this, Serena was stunned. How could it be possible? Grandma was saved by Arabella's few needles? Was it just good luck? She didn't expect her luck to be so good. After the treatment, the doctor asked cautiously and respectfully, Excuse me, who is your master? How long have you been learning acupuncture? To be able to restore the old lady's health through bloodletting and acupuncture was incredible. Haven't you read The Golden Mirror of Medicine? The theories of bloodletting and acupuncture are similar. Both aim to regulate the body to achieve the effect of treating diseases. When Arabella saw his puzzled expression, she knew he hadn't read it. The doctor's face turned from red to white under her questioning. Seeing that he was young and probably just graduated from university, Arabella said leisurely, You should read more. Okay. Bella, you're a lifesaver. You saved your grandma in the nick of time. You're just amazing. Kenneth was so excited, he wanted to hug her. Louisa beat him to it, embracing her daughter. Thank God, your grandma is fine now. We were scared to death. The thought of anything happening to the old lady was terrifying. Who knew their daughter was such a skilled doctor? Philip always praised her medical skills. It turned out he wasn't just blowing smoke. It wasn't Philip favoring Bella, it was Bella truly being that competent. Her medical skills were top-notch. The determination, calmness, and wisdom she showed during the rescue left everyone in awe. Arabella felt a sudden warmth from her mother's embrace, a feeling of being loved, spoiled, and valued that she had never experienced before. Your grandma will be so happy when she wakes up and hears about this. Louisa looked at Arabella proudly, as if she couldn't be prouder to have such a daughter. While proud, Kenneth began to wonder about what Bella had been through over the years in the Murphy family. If she grew up carefree, why did she have so many skills? Despite having these skills, why was she not well received by the Murphy family? Thinking about this, He felt a pang of heartache for his daughter, feeling that she had suffered a lot of hardships and grievances. He made a silent vow to make it up to her, to treat her doubly well. The surrounding doctors, nurses, and caregivers were all stunned. From Kenneth and Louisa's words, they could guess that the old lady on the bed was not just Serena's grandmother but also this girl's grandmother. But didn't Kenneth and Louisa only have one daughter? So where did this girl come from? It seemed that Kenneth and Louisa were doting on her even more than Serena. Looking at Serena, she seemed a bit jealous. Realizing the girl's special identity and remembering her own rash words earlier, a young nurse lowered her head and apologized to Arabella, saying, "I'm sorry, was wrong to question your skills. My ignorance showed." This girl's medical skills were far beyond theirs. Next to her, Haley also lowered her head, saying remorsefully, "I was too anxious just now, and I said some harsh words. Please forgive me." She felt deeply ashamed of her ignorance and rashness. When the old lady's condition suddenly worsened, she thought it was the girl's doing. Now, she wondered, what kind of granddaughter would do such a thing? What happened when I was out? Why did Grandma suddenly have trouble breathing? Serena started to focus on this issue again. "I'm not trying to blame anyone, I just want to know what happened so we can avoid it in the future. We can't let Grandma suffer like this again. When it happened, only my brother and sister were in the room." "Brother is always steady, sister. Did you say something to Grandma that upset her?" She deliberately attributed the cause of Grandma's illness to Arabella. But Hans calmly refuted, "Didn't Bella already explain? Grandma had neurogenic dyspnea, caused by a stroke affecting the respiratory center. It's not because someone upset her. Bella didn't do anything." Afraid that her brother would see through her, Serena pretended to be enlightened and nodded. "It seems that reading books in our spare time is useful, at least it can provide some references at critical moments. Today, you were lucky. I guess there must have been some arrangements to leave a good impression on our grandparents." Hans caught the hidden meaning in her words and asked frostily, "Are you saying the golden mirror of medicine is considered trashy?" Was she implying that Arabella only managed to save her grandmother because she got lucky? So, was saving someone just about copying others? Why didn't she try saving someone herself then? The doctor next to them chimed in respectfully, "It's not as simple as reading a few books to save a life. Miss Bella's medical skills clearly surpass those of all of us. It's not just about simple imitation." Serena fumed inwardly. "Why are you sticking your nose in? This isn't your business." Arabella just smiled. Her recent diagnosis had given her a clear understanding of their condition. "I know a very famous doctor who has the medicine to cure this disease." At her words, everyone present was flabbergasted. "Bella, do you really know a famous doctor? Does she have the medicine to save your grandparents?" Kenneth, in his shock, also remembered that his daughter was a renowned international pianist. She must have a wide social circle, so it wouldn't be too hard for her to know a doctor. Louisa also exclaimed joyfully, "So, your grandparents can be saved? That's great." They hadn't expected their daughter to know a famous doctor. This was truly eye-opening. "Sis, is this doctor better than Dr. Nolan?" Dr. Nolan is a top graduate from a prestigious medical university with 3 generations of doctors in his family. "If he can't cure this disease, can your friend help?" Serena added quickly, "What I mean is, our grandparents' condition is very complicated, and many famous doctors and experts can't cure it. Can we really rely on your friend? What if, just what if, you trust her, give the medicine to our grandparents, and it turns out she's a fraud?" There were many fraudsters posing as doctors these days, scamming people left and right. But Arabella answered confidently, "She won't cheat. Because that person was her." Could Dr. Nolan compare to Dr. Bell? Arabella smiled and said, "I can guarantee that as long as they take the medicine, they'll wake up within a month." Kenneth and Louisa were dumbstruck. A month? Their parents had been unconscious for quite some time, and Bella was bold enough to guarantee they would wake up within a month? That doctor must be really good. At this point, Hans looked at his sister, a hint of confusion in his gaze. Even if Bella knew this famous doctor, how could she guarantee their grandparents would wake up within a month? How did she know the doctor had the right medicine? Seeing her brimming with confidence, could it be that she was the doctor she was talking about? Considering the respect the doctors and nurses had for her, her medical skills must be top-notch. Out of nowhere, Hans grew curious, wanting to know his little sister's standing in the medical field, considering she can handle even the trickiest cases with ease. Everybody knew that the top dog of the medical world was Dr. Bell, whose mad skills can bring people back from the brink of death. But the guy's a ghost, so nobody knew where to find him. Ever since his grandparents got chucked into intensive care, he'd been sending people out like crazy to hunt down Dr. Bell, hoping the doctor could pull his grandparents back from the edge. Some folks said Dr. Bell's already kicked the bucket, while others claimed they've spotted him in the triangular zone. But whether these rumors held water, nobody knew. He couldn't help but wonder, could his sister be Dr. Bell's protégé? If that were the case, his grandparents would be in good hands. Louisa whipped out a card from her purse and said, "There's $200 million on this card. See what she's asking for, make her happy, and keep the change as pocket money." Arabella was a bit thrown off. Was she getting more dough? On the side, Serena was getting green with envy. Her mom was giving Arabella more money right in front of her, not considering her feelings at all. Arabella tried to give the card back, saying, "No need, I'm good." But Louisa insisted on handing it over, saying, "Top-notch doctors charge an arm and a leg, your money might not cut it." Arabella retorted, "We're tight. She won't charge me a fortune." She was dead set on not using her parents' money anymore. Serena chimed in, batting her eyelashes, "Mom, you're too generous. Sis just wants to show her filial piety. If Grandpa and Grandma knew she footed the bill, they'd love her even more." Louisa just chuckled and said, "You and your sister are both only 18. It's normal for girls your age to be broke. If I let her pay, your grandparents will give me hell." Kenneth put his foot down. "We can't let Bella pay." Louisa playfully threatened, "If you don't take this card, we're not giving your grandparents the meds you brought." Kenneth relented. "Bella's only been home for less than a month, and she's done so much already. Running the company, weeding out the bad apples, joining design contests, helping the staff bag the championship trophy, boosting the company's reputation. How could we take advantage of her now?" "Bella, just take it," Louisa insisted, stuffing the card into Arabella's hand. Arabella didn't want to, but she ended up slipping the card into her backpack. In the end, Arabella didn't resist. She figured she'd just return the card to her mom after some time. Serena was seething with envy. In her mind, she was all, didn't she say she didn't want it? But she still accepted the dough in the end. What a hypocrite. Annoying and pretentious. "Bella, do you reckon we should get that doctor to come over and check your grandparents out properly, then treat them accordingly?" Louisa asked curiously. "Yeah, we can't botch this up. We should definitely get the doctor over. Plus, we can thank her in person," Kenneth suggested similarly. Hans was in two minds. If the guy was Dr. Bell, it would be even better to have him over. He'd bet his bottom dollar that his skills were more reliable than Dr. Nolan's. Meanwhile, Dr. Nolan chimed in expectantly, "If we could get that doctor, we could have a face-to-face discussion and collaboration. It might speed up the recovery of the elderly couple." All Arabella could say was, "I'll have a word with her later." Great, just great. Louisa felt as if a huge weight had been lifted off her chest. Suddenly, Serena thought of something. "Sis, thank God you brought your acupuncture kit today, or Grandma might have been in serious trouble." Feigning concern, she added, "But how did you know that our grandparents would suddenly feel unwell?" She was hinting at the possibility that Arabella had deliberately exacerbated her grandmother's condition when Kenneth wasn't looking, then whipped out her pre-prepared acupuncture kit to show off in front of everyone. "Serena, you wouldn't know this," Dr. Nolan chuckled. "Acupuncturists always carry their kits around, it's no biggie. We were lucky that Miss Bella was on hand today. If I ever have any medical queries in the future, could Jay pick your brain, Miss Bella? I'm seriously impressed by your skills. Bella still has college to attend. If you have any questions, ask her when she comes to visit her grandparents and has some spare time." Kenneth was worried this might interfere with his daughter's studies. "Of course, let me thank Mr. Collins, Mrs. Collins, and Miss Bella in advance." With that, Dr. Nolan left with a few nurses. Serena was green with envy. Dr. Nolan didn't even mention her. She had just been singing Arabella's praises right in front of her. A terrible thought suddenly crossed her mind. If the medicine that Arabella brought could lead to the deaths of her grandparents, then she wouldn't stand a chance in this family. Even if the law wouldn't sentence Arabella to death because of the Collins family status, Arabella might end up rotting in jail. By then, she would be the only little princess at home, and everything could return to the way it was. She'd still be the apple of her parents' eye, the only little sister her 5 brothers doted on. As long as all the evidence pointed to Arabella trying to harm their grandparents. With these thoughts in mind, Serena looked at her grandparents on the bed. They had genuinely loved her for 18 years, and she couldn't bear to lose them. Later, Louisa stood up and instructed the nurses, "I'll leave it to you guys. If anything happens, don't hesitate to call me." "Sure. Bella, it's getting late. Let's head home." Louisa took Arabella's hand, and they left the room together. After they got back to Reflections Villa and Arabella had eaten, she quickly made an excuse to leave for Villa Cascada to prepare the medicine her grandparents needed. Grandpa and Grandma's central nervous system had taken a serious hit, and with respiratory infections, anemia, and electrolyte metabolism disorders to boot, they've got to juggle a cocktail of medications. She first prepped the meds for the first 3 days, grinding them into powders so they'd dissolve easily in water. Next thing she knew, it was already 8:30 in the evening. Hans was hanging out in the lush courtyard, checking his watch and shooting glances at the front gate, but his sister was still no show. "Heard she was out on some business, probably to see that doctor, huh?" Who knew if the doctor was a guy or a girl? If it's a guy, it's kinda late now. Was his sister safe out there all alone? Just then, Edith stepped up, reporting respectfully, "Hans, those marigolds you ordered are all set. Wanna take a look?" Hans looked up, and on the balcony of his sister's second-floor room, marigolds were all aglow around the railing. It was a sight for sore eyes. Wonder if Bella would perk up seeing this. "That's Bella's room. I'd better not." Sure, he's her brother, but he's still a guy, and it's late. Without her permission, he can't just barge into her room. "You can go about your business." "Yes, sir." Edith withdrew respectfully. After a while, Hans didn't see his sister, so he got up and walked into the living room, asking, "Martha, has Serena hit the sack?" "You need Serena, Hans?" "At this hour, she's definitely still up." "Hold on a sec, I'll go fetch her." Martha was kinda giddy, 'cause in this house, aside from being favored by the old lady, the next best thing was to be noticed and pampered by Hans. Among all of them, Hans held the most sway. Anyone he wanted to keep around had to respect his decision. "Nah, I'll go find her." Hans walked upstairs to find Serena without making her run errands. Martha looked at the clock and couldn't help but do a little happy dance inside. By all accounts, it was about time for the young master to call it a night, but instead, he was breaking routine for Serena. "Serena, it's me. Are you asleep?" Hans stood at Serena's door, giving it a knock. "Brother." Serena opened the door as soon as she heard the sound. It's been ages since her brother came to see her alone. Tonight, Arabella was out, and her brother just happened to come see her. It must be because Arabella usually kept him away. With that thought, Serena happily stepped aside and said, "Brother, come on in for a chat. Let's head to the terrace." Each floor had a spacious viewing terrace, and Serena's floor was no exception. On the terrace surrounded by swaying plants, Serena asked cheerfully, "Brother, what brings you here so late?" Before Hans could answer, Serena took the opportunity to whine, "You haven't come to chat with me for so long. I thought our sibling relationship had changed. I've always treated you as my brother, but I don't know if in your heart I'm still your sister." Saying this, Serena put on a fake, aggrieved expression. "Sure thing." Hans' confident tone brought a smile to Serena's face. "I knew my big brother is the best. Bella just returned home, and everyone is understandably worried about her feelings. This might make you think we're treating you differently than before. But let me tell you," Hans said heartily, "in our parents' eyes and mine, including the other brothers, you're still a part of this family and that has never changed." Upon hearing this, Serena felt uneasy, sensing an undercurrent in his words. Did he come to her late at night to warn her about something? "How have Mom and Dad been treating you these years?" Hans asked. "Obviously great," Serena answered without hesitation. "They've always told me that I'm their most precious treasure, and they'd give me the world if they could." "And how about me? How have I treated you? Brother, you've always bought me anything that suits me. Some new styles that I couldn't find. You managed to get them for me. And our other brothers, how have they treated you? They're great too. Serena was puzzled and decided to take the initiative. Brother, why are you asking all these out of nowhere? I want to tell you, Hans said solemnly. Bella has been lost for 18 years, and it's been a struggle for her to come back home. Mom, Dad, and I want to make it up to her. It may seem to you that we're favoring her over you, but what we're giving her now is what you've had all these 18 years. So, this was about Arabella Bennett. That's why he was having this chat with her so late at night. Serena felt a pang of annoyance. Did you ever think, he continued, that this is her home too? She deserves to be here, to enjoy the life she was supposed to have. She's our parents' biological daughter, and they should treat her well. As her brother, I should spoil and take care of her, especially after the hardships she's experienced for the past 18 years. We should double our efforts to compensate her. Big bro, you're making it sound like I don't welcome her home. Serena was slightly jealous and seemed down. Don't get it twisted. I have no ill feelings towards her. Whether you have ill feelings or not, and how much I can tell. Hans looked at her and said meaningfully, the reason I have this chat with you is to let you know that even if Bella is back, our love for you over these 18 years is not fake. You can still stay here, buy whatever you want, do whatever you want. No one will restrict you or treat you differently. Serena was skeptical. Things definitely felt different with her family. Bella holds no grudge against you. Sometimes she's just putting up with your nonsense. You should be happy to have such a sister. Hans paused slightly before continuing. You should take my advice, put aside your prejudices, try to accept her, respect her. You'll find your life is not worse off than before, but you'll be happier. Happier? But whenever she saw her parents doting on Arabella and her brothers always siding with Arabella, she couldn't help feeling incredibly jealous and irritated. This family was never yours, to begin with, Hans said thoughtfully. These words struck Serena like a bolt from the blue, startling her from her stupor. None of it belongs to you. Not the love and care from our parents and brothers, not the comfortable and elegant life, not the respect from the servants. Serena was shocked into silence. You spent 18 years living Bella's life because of a mistake initially. Bella accepted you because of our parents and brothers. You had the chance to be jealous of her, to hurt her. Have you ever thought about what would have happened if she insisted you leave this house from the beginning? Serena was stuck for a few seconds, frozen in time. Could you accept her for our parents' and brothers' sake, just like she accepted you? Hans saw her deep in thought, and gave her a light pat on the head. Think about what I've said before you sleep tonight. I hope to see some changes when I come back. Hans had a very regular schedule, with only 3 minutes left before his bedtime. He stood up, not changing his habits for anyone. Before he left, he specifically said, if I were you, I would cherish everything in front of me instead of waiting until it's gone to feel regret. Serena looked at him in surprise. Good night. Hans walked away, leaving the balcony. Seeing Hans leave, Martha, hiding in the shadows, quickly appeared. Serena, are you okay? From the moment Hans had come to find Serena, she had quietly followed. She thought Hans would say some sweet words to Serena or do something to pamper her, but instead, his words seemed like a warning. Hans is warning you, if you can't get along well with Arabella, you might be ostracized by the family and forced to leave. Tears fell from Serena's eyes. But my brother is right. This home was never mine. The love from my parents and brothers, the comfortable life, the care from the servants, none belong to me. I've been living Arabella's life for the past 18 years. Serena, you can't think like that. Martha was anxious and quickly looked around to make sure no one was around before saying, it was the lady who made the mistake picked up the wrong child. How can you blame yourself? You also lost 18 years of being loved by your biological parents. You also have losses. Serena spoke somewhat dazedly. Martha, do you think if I really treat Arabella as my own sister, will they still treat me the same? I mean Mom and Dad and my brothers. Of course not. Martha said anxiously. Serena, how can you be so naive? You're confused by a few words from Hans. If Hans really saw you as his sister, he wouldn't have warned you like this tonight. But I think what my brother said makes sense. It sounded hurtful, but it was the truth. Do you remember what Hans said last? He was hinting that if you're not content, you will soon lose everything. Martha was getting impatient. Serena, listen to me. While you still have the ability and connections, while they still have feelings for you, either get rid of Arabella, or strive for the greatest benefits of the Collins family. Strive to become the most influential person in the world. Don't naively try to get along well with Arabella. It's the most useless move. Serena looked up, wavering again. I've watched you grow up like you're my own child. I would never harm you. Martha was so anxious she was about to cry. I'm really doing this for your own good, Serena. Don't let Hans deceive you. Martha, do you have your own children? Serena suddenly asked. Martha was a bit puzzled, didn't understand what Serena meant, and after a while she answered, I once had a child. Once? Serena asked in surprise. That was a long time ago when I just gave birth. I heard that being a nanny in the city could make a lot of money, so I wanted to try it. Because my husband's leg was not good, he could only stay in the village care for the elderly and our child at home. I never expected a flood that year, and my husband, child, and the child's grandparents all passed away. Serena was moved. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have brought up your past. She was just curious. Over the past 18 years, she never once heard Martha mention her family back home, and Martha never seemed to plan on going back for the holidays. Our village was full of kin, Martha shared, and we suffered heavy losses because of the flood that year. Serena nodded. If I ever make it big, I won't forget you. Thanks, Serena. Martha showered her with words of gratitude. Arabella worked until 11:30 in the evening. After sorting out the medication, she quickly headed home. As soon as she entered, she could feel the hostile gaze from upstairs, as if someone wanted to tear her apart. She looked up and saw a silhouette hiding behind the window, spying on her. The window belonged to Serena's room. Perhaps Serena didn't realize that the light was casting a long shadow of hers on the curtain. Arabella shrugged it off and was about to enter the living room when she heard her parents' conversation. Where's Bella? Is she in danger? Should we call and check on her? Kenneth Collins's voice echoed through the room. It's late, and I can't help but worry about her being out alone. It's not midnight yet. Don't rush her and put pressure on her. Louisa yawned sleepily. Let's wait a little longer. Bella has never been later than midnight, no matter how late she works. Really? Kenneth yawned. Okay, I'll wait a bit more. Hearing this, Arabella felt a warmth in her heart. She changed into her slippers and walked in. Mom, Dad, I'm home. Kenneth and Louisa immediately perked up and went to greet her. Bella, you're finally back. Where have you been? Kenneth was about to ask more when he was stopped by Louisa. Are you interrogating her? Why do you need to know everything? She's grown up. She can make her own decisions. Right. I'm just worrying too much, Kenneth admitted. Arabella laughed. I went to see the doctor earlier. She's leaving the country tonight to treat patients elsewhere. She gave me these medicines before she left and assured me they would work. Louisa nodded in understanding. Of course, she's a renowned doctor. Many people would ask for her help. It's not possible for her to drop everything and come to see your grandparents. Exactly. Bella knows some medical stuff too. She explained the situation to the doctor, and the doctor prescribed it accordingly. I trust it will work out. Kenneth didn't want to put more pressure on Bella. She gave me these medications for the first 3 days. There are 6 bottles, 1 for the morning and 1 for the evening. Just mix it with warm water. Arabella handed over a small bag. She will mail the rest of the medicines to me. Don't worry about running out. Good job, Bella, Louisa quickly said. I've prepared some late-night snacks for you. Go eat something first. Oh, did you have enough money for the fee? Do we need to add more? No need. She didn't charge much, Arabella smiled. I'm going to shower first, and then I'll come down to eat. You guys rest first. Sure, just remember to eat. All right. Arabella went back to her room, and as soon as she turned on her phone, she found over a dozen unread messages. She'd been busy in the lab and had her phone on silent, and she was driving herself home, so she hadn't had time to check her messages. A lot of them were from her brother. Arabella, I'm leaving the country tomorrow morning. If anything happens at home, or if you're in any trouble, you can tell me directly, and I'll help you out. Our parents have managed the company for many years, and even though they're cunning in business, they don't bring that shrewdness home. They never doubt their own family. It's not because they're oblivious or biased. Arabella understood his meaning. Her brother saw through Serena's sneaky tactics. He knew what was up. He was right who would see their own children as enemies, constantly questioning if they had ulterior motives, especially when that child had always been so well behaved, excelling in various skills, and showing deep respect and love for them without malice. So, they genuinely loved and liked her. Dad's a man, so he tends to be careless. Mom's been spoiled by Dad for decades, so she's a bit naive. Don't hide anything from me. You can tell me everything. I'll always be your rock. Good night, my little sister. Rest well. Arabella lightly tapped the screen with her finger and quickly replied, "Bro, don't worry. I'll handle everything. Good night." Then, she exited the chat and opened the messages from Romeo. "Did you see Grandma and Grandpa today? Are they feeling better? Have you eaten yet? He also sent some pictures of his meal. Without you by my side, I can't taste anything." Arabella could almost imagine his handsome yet slightly gloomy face through the screen, and she couldn't help but smile. "Still busy. I miss you. I wonder what my fiancé is doing right now." Arabella knew that if he wasn't worried about disturbing her, this man would probably send her even more messages. She lightly swiped the screen with her finger and quickly replied, "Just got home." Romeo immediately called her, "Finally, I've been waiting for you. Still haven't gone to bed? It's been 16 hours since I last saw you. I can't sleep. So, can we go to sleep after this call? Hearing your voice, I miss you even more. I still can't sleep." Today, without her by his side, he would think of her no matter his actions. On his way home, he would wonder who picked her up, where she went, who she met. When eating, he would think about whether she liked the food, whether she was full or happy. When he had free time, he would wonder what she was doing, why she hadn't replied. Every minute, every second, her image would appear in his mind. No matter what he was doing, he could always relate it to her. Maybe this was what love felt like. "Did you see Grandma and Grandpa today?" "Yeah, I saw them. Are they feeling better?" Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.